Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? Yuan Hall was the emperor's bedroom, with the western side serving as his study. The emperor usually resided in the eastern side, the official bedroom, which was not overly splendid but known for its refined comfort. As Xianling and I entered, I kept my head down and followed him. The main hall was paved with fine, extremely hard gold bricks, laid so closely together that not even a sliver of gap was visible, smooth and reflective as a mirror. At the end of the golden brick floor to the east was a vermilion door threshold. Stepping over it, the feeling underfoot changed to soft and buoyant, due to the thick and plush carpet in a dizzying mix of bright yellow and crimson red. A scent enveloped me, not overpowering but pervasive throughout the hall. It was a familiar fragrance, Xianling's scent. Looking up, 24 towering floor-to-ceiling curtains of pure white gauze were tied up with tasseled golden hooks, providing a direct view into the depths of the bedroom. Passing through one layer, palace attendants would lower the hooks behind me, each layer falling gracefully in place. The further I walked, the more layers of light, dense gauze curtains appeared, layer upon layer, like overlapping snow and fog, as if separating another world. A few feet away from the wide imperial bed, a bronze Qilin incense burner gently emitted thin wisps of smoke. In front of the bed, a pair of candle stands featuring cranes and lingji mushrooms amidst clouds held freshly lit red candles, covered by large lampshades embroidered with auspicious cloud patterns, casting a smoke-free light. The hard wooden carved bed frame was decorated with symbols of progeny prosperity, such as gourds and lotus pods, and the yellow silk dragon curtains above the bed were tied high, with a neatly spread brocade quilt embroidered with blossoming flowers and the 5 blessings for longevity. I caught a glimpse and immediately felt embarrassed. Xianling let go of my hand and stopped, and immediately a silent attendant approached to help him change into his nightwear. Surprised to see him changing in front of me, I quickly turned away. Xianling chuckled behind me, increasing my embarrassment. Jinxi hurriedly helped me remove my outer robe, quickly glancing at my hand when she touched it. I knew my fingers were ice cold. Once everything was settled, he waved his hand, and the attendants bowed and silently withdrew. The distant sound of the hall door closing with a squeak made me desperately try not to look at Jinxi, who was left outside the grand doors, and I couldn't help but feel an involuntary fear. A voice whispered in my ear, low with a hint of laughter, "Are you afraid?" I tried to maintain my composure and said slowly within the hall, "I am not afraid." "How can you not be afraid? You won't even look at me." He paused. "It's common for concubines to be afraid on their first night of serving." I turned to face Xianling, gazing directly at him, and explained calmly, "I am not afraid. I do not see this knight merely as a concubine serving her lord. To your majesty, I may be just another concubine, but I see your majesty as my husband. Tonight is like my wedding night, which is why I am nervous." Xianling was slightly taken aback, not expecting such a response from me. After a moment he spoke gently, "Don't be afraid and don't be nervous. Surely, your attendants have already taught you how to serve." I shook my head. "I am apprehensive. The attendants have instructed me on how to serve your majesty, but they have not taught me how to serve a husband." I began to kneel. "I apologize for my bold and disorderly words. I hope your majesty will forgive me." Just as my knees were about to touch the ground, a pair of strong hands caught me. Xianling was visibly moved. Never before has a concubine been anything but extremely anxious and cautious in their service. Not even the empress is an exception. No one has ever said such things to me. His voice was like a gentle wave soothing in the air. "If you see me as your husband, then you need not be so cautious in front of me." My heart warmed and I felt tears welling up in my eyes. Despite being in the hall and wearing only a thin nightgown, a chill ran through me. My body shivered slightly, and he immediately noticed, wrapping his arms around me, his warmth whispering in my ear, "Don't be afraid." The snow-white soft curtains hung quietly to the ground, creating a silence as if we were not of this world, so still that the sound of a water clock could be heard, breaking the intricate dream of joy with a single drop. The silk quilt was too smooth, almost surreal, causing a strange tingling sensation on my skin, highlighting my naivety and awkwardness. When his lips touched mine, I felt a moment of breathlessness. My body gradually heated up as if a fierce fire was burning from the heart. The kiss deepened, but a chill spread across my back as if all my breath had been taken by him, leaving nothing for myself. I turned my head slightly, the room awash in imperial yellow, filled with leaping dragons almost blinding. Only he and I remained, an involuntary whimper escaping my throat, causing my body to curl up in pain. His hand soothed me, gently wiping the sweat from my brow, his lips gently nibbling my earlobe, slowly sinking into a deep distant haze. In the quiet of the night in the inner palace, the physical pain had not yet subsided. The man beside me slept with closed eyes. Struggling to sit up, the silk quilt slid off smoothly, startling me into quickly turning back, but he remained in his dreams unmoved. Relieved, I tiptoed to cover him with the quilt and got dressed. The candle on the crane and Lingji mushroom candle stand had burned through the night, its tears forming a splendid coral-like structure, as if even the tears were shy yet pleased. The candles burned bright and clear, not dimming in the slightest, their light soft yet illuminating the serene palace. "What are you doing?" Xianling's voice was soft, tinged with laziness. I turned with a gentle smile, cheerfully replying, "I was looking at the candles." He propped himself up and casually pulled over his nightgown, asking, "What's so interesting about candles that you're so happy?" At home, I heard that in the common folks' weddings, it's customary to light a pair of red candles in the bridal chamber on the wedding night, and they must burn until dawn. Moreover, both candles must be extinguished at the same time to symbolize a harmonious and lifelong marriage. "Oh." He seemed genuinely intrigued. Feeling slightly shy, I said, "But the candles usually burned by common folks are dragon and phoenix candles. These red candles here will have to do." "You're happy to see the red candles shining brightly," he noted, seeing me lower my head without a word. Sitting up, he reached out his hand to me, and I reached back, leaning into his embrace. I saw a thoughtful smile on his face and couldn't help but ask softly, "Is your Majesty laughing at me for being foolish?" He gently caressed my shoulder. "I find your innocence and frankness endearing." His voice softened. "In my life, I too have once burned a pair of dragon and phoenix candles through the night." Surprised, I blurted out, "Wasn't it twice?" He shook his head, his tone slightly stiffer than before. "Ishio was my successor. The wedding rituals were not required." Realizing my mistake, possibly evoking memories of Empress Chuanyuan's passing and ruining the moment, I fell silent, stealing glances at his expression. However, Xianling didn't seem upset or melancholic, merely stating, "Aside from monks and Taoists, most men experience at least one night of wedding consummation." He paused, then asked me, "Do you wish to grow old with me?" Without a word, I simply looked up at him, the candlelight casting a warm glow on his handsome features, more radiant than usual, with not a hint of jest. Softly I confirmed, "Yes." A faint smile touched my lips. Every woman harbors this wish. I am but an ordinary person. Despite the smile, a wave of sorrow tinged with hopelessness and longing surged within me. It was a mere wishful thinking. The grip on his hand unconsciously loosened. He gazed at me intently, a flicker of blue sparkles in his eyes like a shooting star, gone in an instant. He gripped my hand tightly, the strength causing me to bite my lip in pain. With a heavy tone filled with sighs, he said, "Do you know that your ordinary desires are what I lack the most by my side?" Holding me close, he earnestly added, "Your wishes are treasures to me, and I will not fail you." Caught between surprise and confusion, it felt as if his words were not meant for me, yet they were clearly spoken into my ear. Somehow a tear slid down my cheek, disappearing quickly into the yellow cushion. He wrapped his arms around me, his chin resting on my forehead, gently patting my back. "Don't cry." With tears and a smile, I felt a joy as if I had received an unexpected treasure, looking up to ask, "Is there pen and ink in your Majesty's chamber?" "For what purpose?" "I want to write it down. With black on white, your Majesty can't go back on your word." Xianling laughed heartily. Such childlike behavior. "As the Emperor, my word is as solid as gold. Why would I go back on it?" I too found it amusing, laughing lightly before suggesting, "Please, your Majesty, try to rest early. There's the morning court tomorrow." He pressed a finger to my lips with a smile. "How can I sleep with you by my side?" Blushing, I turned away, A light giggle escaping me.
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.